What are we all doing? Listen, it's Saturday. I understand there was an after party last night. I myself was feeling worse for wear, but I think we can do a little bit better. How are we doing? Adequate. Detective Cox, come on over, bro.
Hello. Good to see you. Great to have you all here. Honored to be here. Sorry, Mike. I am so honored to be here. I'm really over the moon to have all you lovely people at, what's this thing called again?
EGX.
EGX. Such a delight. And I brought my handler over here, Gareth Owens. Give it up for Gareth Owens, everybody.
So, those of you who are not familiar with... It's not Doctor, is it? It's not Doctor?
It's detective, thank you. Although I do dabble somewhat in medical mysteries as well. So if anyone has a random illness, I'll try and diagnose them as best I can.
Detective Cox's work, he is a part of the fantastic game No Stone Unturned. Gareth.
Hello.
How you doing, mate?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Now this is going to be difficult because not only am I looking past a certain orange obstacle.
Wait, who are you calling an obstacle, buddy?
But I want to be talking to you about the game.
Yes.
Tell me, No Stone Unturned. For anyone here who doesn't know about it.
Yeah, so No Stone Unturned is a murder mystery that asks, why did the chicken cross the road? You play as Detective Cox, who goes around solving that alongside 5 other cases that revolve around the animals that live inside this little town, and they all have some kind of link to children's jokes or children's stories, so why did the chicken cross the road is the main core question that Detective Cox...
Is this the level of Dr. Cox's intelligence, children's stuff?
Yeah. Excuse me, Dr. Cox? I mean, are you a Scrubs fan? What is this? Listen, it's detective, and get it memorized.
Dr. Cox, got you. So you say there's five different cases, and they're all themed around different children's stories. Can you tell us, what's the first one we're going to encounter in the game?
So there's one about a tabby cat jazz singer who is for some reason refusing to sing. That case is called Cat Got Your Tongue. And then right after that, there is a case about the hare and the tortoise, the famous racing rivals. Although in my version, the tortoise did something very, very naughty to win the race.
I assume that he just took steroids or something, or...
Way worse.
Way worse, okay.
The most bad you could...
He wore wheelies, everyone. The worst thing anyone could do in a race. Detective Cox, how is it starring in your own game, buddy?
Well, this is kind of the beginning of a empire building, as we like to call it. Obviously, you see, I am only really playing the role of Detective Cox. These people just got lucky with finding the kind of perfect actor for the role, because I, myself, a little furry fellow, just resonated so much with this character, and when we were shooting the game, it was really just a magical mystery tour, really. And, twists, turns, everything in between. We had a great time.
I completely agree. Detective Cox was the best voice actor for Detective Cox we could have gotten, and we really got lucky here.
So how does the gameplay function work with Detective Cox?
So there's loads of different mini-games. It's a big, beefy detective game. It's over 20 hours of story content, and then it's over 30 different types of mini-games that then get reskinned and reworked to feel even more bespoke and unique in that moment. It follows a story alongside these 5 cases, and in each moment you might suddenly jump into a new mini-game that's inspired by some nostalgia or a nostalgic video game that I loved growing up or something, and there's just...
Oh, fascinating. Can you tell us what those games were that influenced you?
I can't say everything, because certain ones, including my favorite, the final mini-game that you ever play is a pun that would spoil the entire mystery if I told you.
Of course.
But if you think retro, if you think like... anything that could be considered a classic of gaming, but also adventure gaming. I love the Monkey Island series and
classics.
Anything by Tim Schafer, that's really up my alley.
There's a lot of humour in the game's writing. Some of certain qualities, some of less. Tell us about what inspired all of that. And I assume you were involved in writing some of the jokes, Detective Cox?
Yeah, well, the thing is, I mean, all the good jokes are mine. All the nerdy jokes that are referencing Hot Fuzz 2007, those are this guy's things. Basically, if anything's a reference, it's him, and if anything's pure wit, it's little old Cox here.
And it definitely would be Hot Fuzz 2007. That would be the one.
I mean, we'll take Detective Cox's word as given, but let's pretend an alternative reality where obviously this is not true. Where did you get your influence from your writing, mate?
Yeah, so I've been doing murder mystery for a really long time now. It's always been my love, my passion. I've been doing it for 14 years-ish. So I started at 12 years old, lying about my age to get my first job. On Facebook, you had to be 13 to get a Facebook account. I was 12, so I pretended to be 35. And then
that is some jump. I thought you were going to be like, yeah, you know, I was 14, told them I was 18. No, you went big. You went big.
I figured you had to.
Yeah, he really, it's real like undercover work. I feel like Garrett's been undercover for a long time here, you know. And
yeah.
You gotta fake it till you make it, you know, that's the strat.
So yeah, at the moment I do covert ghostwriting for murder mystery film and TV.
Wow.
As well as I've previously worked on escape rooms and theme park design and stuff like that. So I've always stuck around the same genre, even though I've changed mediums and I've moved into other things. So I love murder mystery and I love making it funny and I love doing that. So it came from how do I pair mystery with comedy, and the biggest thing for me was the word setup. You can have a setup to a mystery and a setup to a joke. So the blending of that became Why Did the Chicken Cross the Road as a murder mystery. That was the sort of...
That sounds amazing, mate. Now, in the chat we were just having a minute ago, we were talking about how there's a number of different suspects for all of these cases, and you mentioned that Detective Cox is amnesiac?
Yes, he's forgetful.
The big thing is, when we were filming the project, I may have had a bit of a problem and fell and bumped my head really, really, really hard.
I heard he was just drinking too much, but those could just be vicious rumors.
Okay, listen, we were both at the after party last night. We had a lot of fun, okay? But let's not talk about that. This is a family-friendly performance, right, buddy? Huh?
I did not say what you were drinking, Detective Cox.
I think we all know what I was drinking. Gareth, tell him what I was drinking.
He was drinking almond milk. He loves almond milk.
100% pure almond milk for a little guy like me.
He's on the hard stuff. I should have known, to be honest. How did this version of Detective Cox take place? I don't want to insult you, Detective Cox, but it looks like maybe you've had a little bit of work done compared to the version I saw on the game earlier.
Yeah, so this version of Detective Cox comes to us from the Jim Henson Creature Shop. They probably are more well known than anything we've ever done, but it's, if you don't know, the Muppets, the creator of the Muppets, Fraggle Rock, Dark Crystal, all of those amazing IPs, they were nice enough to agree to make Detective Cox for us, and here he is now, and he's come to life.
Detective Cox, have you always been this way, or has the fame sort of gone to your head?
I don't mean to alarm you, but I've just realized that all the almond milk I've been drinking is going straight down me. I feel like I don't have a stomach. This is quite a revelation for me, and could I just have a bit of time, please? Mike, sit you?
We'll give you the moments you need. We'll give you the moments you need. When I first saw the design of Detective Cox, I don't know if this is what you were trying to evoke, but my first thoughts were of the rare game from years ago, Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Yes,
is that something you've played?
Yeah, definitely. I love Conker's Bad Fur Day, the Mighty Pooh,
classic, underappreciated.
Definitely.
What is it like having a Jim Henson puppet as your lead actor, mate? Me personally, I love the Muppets, don't you can tell. I was very lucky recently I got to interview Mike Quinn, who was Dark Crystal, the Muppets, Labyrinth, Star Wars, anything good with puppets he's been in. So I know the work that goes into making these puppets and bringing them alive. Are I assume you're as big a fan as me to want to put them front and center of your project, you know?
Yeah, I love Jim Henson. I love what they do. I love puppetry and I love storytelling. So if there's any form of doing it that's interesting and new, I want to try it and find some way of fitting it into this grand, narrative about Detective Cox figuring out what's going on with this chicken.
Yeah, also, sorry, my derealization moment's over now. I'm back in the room here. I've realized that I am still the greatest detective in the world. But, we really, really want to pay homage to all the lovely folks out there. My makers, for lack of a better word, even though I didn't choose to be made, I was commissioned by this man right here. So, I don't know where I stand on it, but they seem like really nice folks. And
I have very similar feelings about my own commissioning, to be fair, Detective Cox, so we've all been there.
Fair, very fair, valid, and true, pal.
But yeah, they're a lovely group of people to work with. They're so sweet. They're true hippies. They're very...
Well, the entire nature of Muppets and puppetry is about collaboration, and obviously seeing them collaborating with yourselves, I'm glad to hear it was such a fluid event. Just to briefly touch away from No Stone Unturned, I believe you've got a broader project that you're doing with Jim Henson's company.
So I can't say too many details, but we are in the process of making a web show with Detective Cox here that will be revolving around the development of our game. We'll have the real development team that live inside our studio, obviously, and they'll be taking part in this show, and Detective Cox will kind of be the Michael Scott to our office,
I can't wait. That's you've got at least one viewer guaranteed over here, mate. That sounds fantastic. We'll deal with you though, Detective Cox. I'm sure you'll be fine in it.
Well, it's very kind to say. I mean, I don't know who this Michael Scott guy, but it seems like he's got his head on straight and he likes to run things, because I'm making a lot of the decisions in the development process out here, and, well, Gareth, you'd be lost without me, right, buddy?
Yeah, I would be totally lost without Detective Cox. Without him telling me, what he would do in that scenario, how am I meant to know what a detective squirrel would actually feel?
I can see you're very nimble at, let's say, tiptoeing around Detective Cox's personality traits. How do we get along when things maybe aren't so easy to navigate?
That's a fair question. I mean, I think the fact that he was made at Jim Henson has really gone to his head, and he's very much a strong hand in the writing room. He really wants to make it known how he feels about it, and creative differences come up, but generally speaking, Detective Cox is right, and I'm probably wrong.
I can see you've been briefed. There's probably a press team behind this, someone who's really helped you out to work with difficult talent, maybe?
It's possible. It's possible. He's definitely, he is great. Don't get me wrong. You're the best. That's all.
We'll move this on quickly before I destroy the game before it's even out. Do not want to break up this team. We're going to talk a bit about we're going to talk a bit about the game, Gareth, again. Like, how did your team develop this? How long have you been in process?
So I started around 3.5 years ago, and it was solo at that point. And then from that point on, I got some friends involved, started getting a bit more together, and then started coming in, doing Kickstarters, and we were able to make a comic book first that raised some money for Kickstarter, and then we were able to do a Kickstarter for the video game, and that was able to help us out. So we've actually been able to slowly build this over the last 3.5 years.
It sounds like the cross-media, doing the comic book and soon the web series, that's maybe equally as important as to the work you're developing with the game in order to raise awareness, potentially?
It takes a lot of effort. It still takes a lot of time and a lot of thought, because you want that stuff to be good in its own right. It's not an advert for the game. It's a show that's funny and has its own story and has its own humor. Same with the comic book. Each comic book is its own unique little story that's in the world, but isn't part of the main story of the video game. I love creating in this universe. I think Detective Cox is a really fun character to become and to feel, and and to like be around. And yeah, I think that he gives me a lot of freedom to be silly, and I need that.
Well, I kind of agree with everything he said. I'm the best at all this stuff, and we have a saying in the office. Oh, sorry, I was having a bit of a existential crisis again. I forgot that I was. I thought I was made of felt for a second there, which happens to the best of us. But I was just thinking, we have a saying in the office, WWDCD, which is what would Detective Cox do? And I think that's what Gareth uses to write all this stuff, get all the guys into ship shape and all that nice stuff. But basically, we go on the Coxian principles, for lack of a better term.
That's a good way of putting it.
He says about the guys in the office. How big is your team?
So at the moment in London, we have a team of 5 that are inside our London studio. Detective Cox actually doesn't count as one of those, so 6 if you include Detective Cox.
He doesn't count in fire safety regulations, despite being made of highly flammable materials? No, it's fine. I'm just concerned about you, bro.
It sounded like you were kind of, calling him flammable.
I don't want to get myself on this list of suspects, so...
Yeah, he's so we have 5 people in London that help us all get it together. That includes me, and then that team is our core team, supported by another team in Sweden called Puzzle Bit Studios, and they are used to making like children's games and stuff like that. They're helping us out, and then we have some freelancers from around the world that help us out for art. That's from Indonesia, France, America, kind of wherever there's a good talent to steal.
Okay, I understand the attention has been off you for about 2 seconds, Detective Cox, so we're probably going to need to come back to it to close this out. A couple of quick fire questions for you, sir. Murder or mystery?
Mystery!
Any particular reason?
Well, can we put murder mystery down as one?
Sure, we'll go with that. I was trying to divide up the 2, but no, you just ruined what I'm doing. That's totally fine, mate. What about murder or mystery? Have we got one over there, Gareth? Maybe you can ask him.
I would say, let me think. Do you prefer the notebook or the pen?
I'm a big fan of The Notebook, Ryan Gosling's greatest performance, I think. I just think those scenes really bring a tear to my eye. So the pen, I just think it really never got off its feet. So I'm a Notebook guy through and through. I mean, a romantic scene in the rain, what more could you want?
Now, obviously, I know your secret that you're a doctor, but if you weren't a detective, what would you be?
I think it's a tough one, because detective's what I do, but I feel like I might dabble in like a haberdashery. I mean, you see my cute hat, huh? It's pretty good.
I thought you were going to say pencil case, to be fair, once you mentioned haberdashery.
Oh, well, or I could be like The Notebook, like the film The Notebook.
I believe they could do a retelling of The Notebook with you in place as the lead, certainly.
You could be Ryan Gosling, couldn't you?
How many acorns do you have squandered away for the rest of the develop period, Detective Cox?
Well, first of all, that's engaging in quite a harmful stereotype, but the answer is millions, okay? You are correct, but I resent the question regardless.
Understood. Apologies for touching on such a touchy subject. Final question, Detective Cox. You've got the comic book, you've got the game, which we are really looking forward to. Gareth, when is the game coming out, sorry?
That's Q2 next year.
Fantastic. And the upcoming web series, which at least I'll watch, even if no one else will. But what's next for you?
Well, listen, I'm really looking forward to the future. All the Cox heads out here, all getting ready to see what I'm going to do next. But I think one of the main things we're working on is I'm coming for Claudia Winkleman, man. I'm going to host the Traders because I don't think she's figured out any of these people right away, and I could do that handily, okay? So, Traders Season 68, featuring Detective Cox. Get it memorized.
Detective Cox is a big Traitors fan.
Understood. Gareth, if our audience would like to keep up to date with the game, how it's coming along, the web series, etc., where can they find you?
Yeah, sure. You can either follow Detective Cox on socials at Detective Cox, or you can follow me and the company on socials at Wise Monkey Ltd, or you can just Google us. We're quite easy to find now. If you go No Stone Unturned Game or Wise Monkey Entertainment, you'll find us.
I'm very excited for the game. I'm very excited for the web series, mate. Please, can we have a round of applause for No Stone Unturned and Detective Cox?
Thank you, everyone.